Alright, what's up, guys? I kind of already made the coffee today. I don't know if I'm making more. We've got the Guatemalan blend. I was just feeling it. The first cup I did with the coconut. I think this one is just, yeah, it's just the half and half. I wanted to chill with just bringing out the flavor of the Guatemalan blend, not a lot of sweetness. So, is this Guatemalan? I don't know. It's kind of cold now. It's been sitting on the counter for a while. So I'm not even sure if this is the one I made. Let me drink it straight from the pot and I'll be able to tell you. There's a tiny bit left. No, I think this is just the Colombian. It's just not super flavorful, which means probably Colombian, I guess. No, weird. It loses a lot of flavor when it gets cold. I didn't expect that. I haven't drank it cold yet. Based on the weight of the bags in the cabinet, it's Guatemalan. Anyways, um, so still working on a lot of the stuff around the house. It takes up a lot of my time. Waiting for the dryer part to arrive. I don't know what time that is. I think based on what I saw on the eBay, it's not gonna be any later than the end. Then it's gonna arrive in the first week of October at the latest. I don't know. I don't have any tracking information, so it just shows up when it shows up, right? Excuse me. The big thing I'm working on this week is painting the rest of the basement. All the paint for that has arrived. So today I'm not doing much with that. We got a bit of a late start. Just, had a headache, had to sleep in and get rid of it. I still have some pain in my neck, but for the most part, the headache's gone. So the main thing I need to do is move all of this stuff. Here, I'll just show you out of the corner of the basement that I've been moving it into while I painted everything else. There's a fair bit of stuff. The most annoying part is going to be the shelves. They're pretty light. They're just big, and there's a bunch of shit on them. I need to move all these things that I had in the area so I can start painting this area. Then I can clean up that corner. That corner is obviously where I used to be cutting some wood and stuff. Once I get all this cleaned up, I'm going to mop the floor several times until the water doesn't come out black anymore. And then once it does that, it's ready to paint. You can't paint when there's any dirt on a floor. Otherwise, it's just going to peel the paint and stuff. Like that goes for walls or anything you're painting, really. So that's the plan this week. I'm going to move a few things before I start the stream, but not going to go super hard on it. Tomorrow, the plan is to wake up, move stuff, and then clean the floor, mop it several times. Uh, Depending on how long that takes, I'll tape the walls and like around the water heater and stuff. I don't know. Should I paint the concrete support column or the brick or whatever it was? I'm definitely painting. There's like metal support columns down there. I don't know if you saw them. I'm definitely painting those because they were two of the three were previously painted, and it's just like they don't look good anymore. I'm gonna have to sand the one that wasn't painted because it's still like a shiny finish, so the paint's not going to stick to it. The ones that were previously painted were painted with a relatively flat finish paint. So, and I've painted one of them already. Here, let me just show you again. Uh, I don't need to turn more lights on. We're good down here. So, this is the one I already repainted. I think it looks pretty good. We're just doing white to blend in with the walls. This is the one, what the other one used to look like, you know? I think they did white at one point, or like an off-white, but it's just not super great anymore. So we're just refreshing it so it looks like that. Eventually I'd love to paint to get these missing panels, fill that in, and paint that all white too. The whole idea is to do all the walls white, floors gray. The thing I'm uncertain about, do we paint this? I guess it depends on how much paint I have left. I'd paint it white if I do to match the rest of the walls, but it also kind of seems like a pain in the ass. I don't know. I guess there's wood blocks here. We're not painting that. Fuck it. We're not painting that. I'm painting this though. This is the thing that needs sanded down. We'll paint this. All right. So that's the plan for this week. Eventually I'll paint this wall too, but I'm not worried about this wall at the moment. We're gonna paint this when we do the steps. The steps need some work. I painted this, but you can see all the coffee spilled. I have a habit of spilling coffee on this floor just because I fill the coffee up too much. And then I like step down on the steps and it spills down the side of the cup. I'm doing my best not to do that. But the primary reason we painted that landing and we didn't do the rest of the stairs was because when I first moved into this place, the previous owners had cats that they didn't take care of. The whole entire basement just reeked of cat piss. And it's actually so bad. There are areas that I've already painted over that if I get, like when I was down on the ground pulling some of the tape off, I could still smell some of the cat piss through the paint because we just used regular primer and regular paint. But that area on the landing was so bad. There's a little cat door right here. I think what they would do is, because they didn't like train the cats or pay attention to them or whatever, the cats would just go through that little cat door, piss on that landing, and then go back into the rest of the room, like the rest of the house. Because the gray paint or brown paint or whatever it was that's on the rest of the stairs, it was literally worn off just from the acidity of the cat piss. The wood was stained brown with cat piss. So the first thing I did was pull all the carpet out of uh, the room that's now my studio, because that had so much cat piss on it that it literally turned the padding beneath it to like this weird cat piss gel. And oh man, I got this stuff called Nature's Miracle. I mopped the whole thing with Nature's Miracle and then used a scraper to scrape up the cat piss gel, and I got rid of like 90% of it. But then I got another bottle of Nature's Miracle and I spent a week just soaking that landing over and over and over again until the cat piss stains were no longer a dark brown but kind of just a light tan. And then I got a special scent sealing primer, and that's the white that's down there right now. The plan for the steps is to have it match the rest of the basement. We're gonna paint the walls white and the steps gray, but that's kind of low priority. We probably won't do that until we finish the bedroom floors. There are 3 bedroom floors that are wood, and one of them needs like almost nothing. I probably am just going to recoat it, maybe not even sand it at all because it's in pretty good shape. It's like tiny. It's almost too small to be a bedroom. I'd say it's more of like an office, you know. It would just fit a small bed in there and that's it, maybe a dresser. Then my bedroom, which is like the medium sized bedroom, I've got a decent sized bed, a dresser. Eventually I want to put my like writing desk in there and that'll be it. I don't need a large room. Then the other room is the master bedroom. There's two reasons why I don't want the master bedroom. One is because I don't have a lot of stuff, and really, this is a place for my parents. I am eventually going to leave here and move down to like Oklahoma or Arizona, somewhere a lot warmer, to say the least, and get my own land out there, hopefully like 100 acres or so. And I'm just renovating this for my parents mostly so that they have a place. One, they need a permanent address. They're living in the Caribbean right now. Uh, so they need a permanent address to send mail. I kind of receive their mail for them. Also, for like banking and tax purposes, because they're still U.S. citizens. They just have they have like work. My dad is a college professor, and he's working at a uh, teaching psychology in the Caribbean right now as kind of like a working retirement almost. Uh, so this is primarily a place for them to come back to. Not sure how long they'll stay there, if they're going to like fully retire out there, but they definitely need two things. One, the permanent address here in the United States, because I don't think they'll ever become a citizen out there. They talked about it. They can get like permanent resident status without becoming a citizen, at least in the first island they were staying on. I'm not sure about this island, but that's the plan, last I heard, at least for now. The plan changes every year for them, it seems. But the other thing is they also need a place to stay when they come back into town, and they need a bigger bed than I do. Plus, the master bedroom is at the front of the house, and I probably shouldn't be telling you guys this in case some weirdo from the internet tries to do me like Charlie Kirk. But I like the bedroom I have because it's towards the back of the house, which means it's farther away from the street, and people don't wake me up when they're driving around during the day and stuff. You know, I can wake up a little bit before the sun goes down and get started. We have a nice sunset right now. Uh, you can't see it from back here because it's on the other side of the house. This is all information I probably shouldn't be telling you because they're like those weird geoguessers and stuff. Gonna figure out where I live now. But so I don't want the master bedroom just because I don't have enough stuff to put in there, and two because it's too close to the street, and I like having as much space as possible between me and the street. What I really want is when I get my own place, I'm gonna build a bedroom like maybe in the basement, but definitely uh, towards the center of the house or as far away from the road. Hopefully, I'm like, if I have 100 acres, I'm like a mile away from the road to begin with. But I want my bedroom to have zero windows and really thick walls. So it's like a tomb, basically. You know, I just want to actually be dead to the world when I'm sleeping. But for now, we're here, and it's a nice place. I'm doing everything I can to get it set up as nice as possible for my parents before I move on. So whenever they come back into town, they can just have a cozy little place to stay. And if they decide they don't want to retire permanently to the Caribbean, then they just have a place to come back here and live, you know? I think that's one of the big things that people don't do in society anymore is do anything for their parents, you know? Like family doesn't matter to so many people, and that really frustrates me. Don't get me wrong. it's important not to just let your parents rule your life, which is something it took me a while to learn. I always gave too much of my energy to my parents. And ironically, being up here doing this for them, I've learned to balance that better. At first, I wasn't balancing it at all, which is why I stopped streaming entirely for several months. That and the fact that I was just massively depressed because this whole thing has been, well, let's just say it's been a challenge. There's been some promises that weren't kept, others that were kind of kept, but not really. And part of me wishes I'd never agreed to move up here and do this because it definitely took a toll on me in many ways. But at the same time, it's made me a lot stronger and I've learned a lot. So, who knows? I don't really do regrets, but I do wonder if my life would be any easier if I just stuck with my original plan instead of letting them convince me to do this. But the important thing is we're making progress. So once the basement floor is done, I'm going to work on those wood floors. Like I said, the small room, which is supposed to be my mom's sewing room, is there's like basically nothing that needs to be done with that. I'm probably just gonna clean it and recoat it with the new stain and see if that does anything. It should be fine. The small bedroom that's my room, that needs a little bit of work. It's not bad, but it's probably to the point where I should sand the whole thing. What if I weren't going to sand the other room? I probably wouldn't waste time sanding my bedroom. But the master bedroom is really bad. It looks like they either spilled a bunch of water on it or let the cats pee on it or something because there's just water stains that have eaten the finish all off the wood everywhere. So the only way to get rid of those is to sand it down to bare wood and then reseal it with new stain. So I need to rent a belt sander to do that. And if I'm going to have the belt sander and belt sand the entire room that's double the size of my room, might as well just do my room and make that floor fresh too, you know? So that is going to be probably late October, if I had to guess. It's going to take like a week to finish the basement, all things considered, you know? Maybe even early November because October is Halloween and my birthday month. We've got uh my cousin has a Halloween party I'm going to be going to. I'm going to be driving back into Pittsburgh around my birthday. My mom's flying into Pittsburgh to like work on the old house and she's going to buy me dinner for my birthday. So that's gonna cut into the time I have available to work on the house. But the big plan is to do the floor this week and then start working in the basement this week and then start working on the floor next week. It would be really nice to have the floors upstairs done by the end of October. I don't think it will take that long, but hell, I thought I'd have everything done here in 6 months, and it's been a year. And like some of it's my fault, some of it is being unable to get the materials I was promised and things like that. But we've overcome both of those hurdles, right? My mental health is much better than it was when I first moved up here, and the I haven't been having issues getting the materials anymore. It's we have worked out a system where they just get sent what I need. Like the paint for finishing the basement came a day or two ago. It's just Saturday. It's the Lord's Day, so I don't do anything that qualifies as work on that day. I actually spent almost all day sleeping. Normally I don't spend all day sleeping. I was planning to go to Saturday evening mass. I haven't gone to church up here at all. I don't really generally like going to church because I feel like it's kind of, at least modern day Catholic churches are kind of antithetical to Jesus's teachings in a lot of way. Like two of my specific gripes are that Jesus was like, don't worship idols of stone and wood, but any church you go into, the largest thing there is a massive idol made of stone or wood of Jesus himself, and that kind of just seems like really insulting to me, you know. The other thing is like he's like, don't worry about all this materialism, but there's the whole idea of like Sunday best. There's like, I grew up in Roman Catholic churches. I was an altar and a choir boy, so I know exactly like all the kind of hypocrisy that goes on there. But at the same time, I feel like it's important to go out and be social and do community things, especially in this day and age. And well, I don't do any of that right now, except for the occasional like Halloween party with my cousins and things like that. So, I want to start going to mass on Saturdays, but it was very important, I guess, that I take a day of rest that day. So, uh, like, I'm not going to run myself ragged trying to get there. But if I happen to wake up early enough next Saturday, then I will absolutely check out one of the local churches at their evening Saturday Mass. And, well, hopefully I don't step on too many toes. Let's just say that. Um, I just plan to be quiet in the back and then leave when it's all done. Uh, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for today. I'm going to be live soon, probably before this finishes uploading because of how damn slow the internet is now. But yeah, I'll be live soon. I'm still working on Warframe. The plan for tonight is to finish long overdue things. There is one quest that I still haven't done yet in the game, Mask of the Revenant. There's also, I didn't really do some of the Duvari stuff. The I haven't done Isle Weaver yet, I don't think, and I haven't done the some version of Duvari. I thought I completed Duvari. I did the Duvari quest line, but I was trying to load into something and it was like, oh, you haven't done this yet. You need to do this first. I was like, okay. The other thing I want to do is finish unlocking the rest of the map on Steel Path. I've got a lot of it done, especially because I was doing the Steel Path, whatever they are. There's 6, I think, Steel Path dailies that you can do, and I've been doing those for the Steel Essence. So it's unlocked a bunch of random nodes all over the system, but I just want to finish unlocking the entire system on Steel Path. I don't know if we can do that tonight. That's a lot of missions, but my hope is to have that done by the end of the week, primarily because there's a new Warframe uh, expansion dropping. I'm actually really excited for it. One, there's a new area. It's going to be underground of Orvalis, which is it Venus? I'm trying to remember what planet that is. I think it's Venus. It's like an underground area of the Solaris United group, and apparently the Corpus have been invading. And there's a mushroom-themed Warframe, which seems pretty crazy. So, bunch of new content dropping in regards to that. But the thing I'm looking forward to the most, Leard actually is the one who informed me. So shout out to that dude. I read over the changes last stream. They just recently updated with all the changes, but they are reworking Oberon, which was my second main. And really the only reason I switched off of him is because I got to endgame and he was really starting to struggle with that. But the changes, he should have no problem doing endgame anymore. He's kind of like an off-tank support, and they're reworking his kit to make him much better at the tank aspect, and it's going to simplify the support role he does a little bit. He's still going to have the same support effects. The only thing that really matters, the only thing that he's losing the ability to blind stuff, but it kind of runs counter to his kit to blind to begin with, because all of his damage is radiation based, which frenzy stuff, and causes it to all shoot each other. And if you frenzy and blind, then the frenzy doesn't really matter, because if things are blind, they're not shooting each other anymore, right? So getting rid of the blind, I am totally fine with that. It makes perfect sense. They're simplifying his abilities into the point where they used to require a whole bunch of synergies to get the full effects, but which means you need to like use two abilities together in a very specific way. And they're kind of just folding the synergy into the main ability now, which is super helpful. It's going to save him on energy costs. Also, they're fixing his AoE so that it's got a better shape, which will basically cut in half how much you need to use it, and just doing a bunch of little tweaks that they'll giving him a better passive. So his old passive was based on companions. When companions were a lot weaker in the game, it basically gave them better survivability. But there's been a companion rework at some point that still helps the companions, but it almost is a moot point now. It's not really necessary anymore. So their reworking is passive to give people temporary invulnerability, which I think is huge, especially in his role as an off-tank support. So I'm really looking forward to playing with the Oberon rework. That's the second week of October, I believe. I think October 15th, or maybe the third week. I'm not paying attention to exactly. It would have to be the third week, right? Because 14 days is 2 weeks. So the third week of October, if I'm correct about it being the 15th, is when the new expansion is dropping, and that includes the Oberon rework. So my goal with Warframe is to have all the bullshit I've kind of avoided doing over the years unlocked by then. You know, that's what I've been doing the past month. Like, I finally got Hellman fully working. So many other little quality of life things I needed to do in the game that I just didn't do. So the only things I feel like I really need to do left at this point are Mask of the Revenant, the Isle Weaver stuff, because I want to do that before that was the most recent expansion. I want to do all that before the newest expansion comes out. Then I need to do unlock all the Steel Path nodes. And the last thing I need to do is rank up the factions. So the syndicates that I use, like Red Veil, pair and sequence, all that. Those are all max rank, but I don't have like Solaris United and the Ostrans and the Entrati and the Cavia and all that fully ranked up. So that's going to be my plan until uh, the new expansion drops. Because I'm sure there's going to be a new faction that you need to grind rank on with I think there's going to be like a mushroom based faction uh, that in the underground that you need to grind rank on with the new release. And it's kind of annoying having to go to like 5 different places. I haven't even done the hex rank either. There's hex that I haven't. I've done almost no 1999 stuff. I'm not a big fan of that expansion. I feel like it could use a little help. I think they changed the way. One of the things they talked about in the quality of life, there's a bunch of quality of life updates in the expansion too. And one of the things they talked about that is actually fixing some of the 1999 issues. One of my big issues, I had to, Liard helped me out a lot. He gave me an important mod for my build, which was the Summoner's Wrath. It's a aura mod that buffs all your summons and companions, and as a Titanium main right now, that's where a significant portion of my damage comes from. I have little razor wing butterflies that fly around and just slice things up, and I just couldn't get that to drop. It drops from certain Scaldra units, and I was running Scaldra Exterminate missions, but it was like half of the Scaldra Exterminate wasn't even Scaldra, it was Tekrot faction, because it would just goes underground a bunch. And one of the quality of life improvements they said is they're going to fix those Halvania missions so that when you're doing a Scaldara based mission, there's less underground areas that spawn on the map. So you should get more Scaldara, and it would be easier to farm those mods for people that are getting into that. When you do a Scaldara mission, or whatever it's called, Scaldra, it's actually going to be Scaldra and not mostly Tekrot, which is nice. There were a bunch of other little QOL updates. I forget what most of them were, but the thing I love about Digital Extremes, which is the company that develops Warframe, is they actually do pay attention to the community. Now, there are some things that have been problems for a long time that don't get a lot of love, like Loki, for example, one of the oldest Warframes in the game, but also one of the weakest Warframes. I wouldn't say he's bad, but he doesn't really have a niche anymore because he's mostly invisible is like his play. He does like decoys and stuff, but because of the power creep, if you're going for like invisible Ash, or which who I use when I do invisible, he's like an assassin, is better, or Octavia is also better. She does invisible through like a weird hopping mechanism with her song. Then there's other frames that do decoy stuff better, like Mirage and stuff. So he's kind of in a weird spot right now where anything he can do, another frame can do better. And he's not super strong. Needs some love, I'd say. I'd like to see him get a rework soon. But also, there's weird mods that don't make any sense. For example, Titania has an augment mod for her Razor Wing, which is the thing I use the most. I'm just in flight mode all the time. It's called Ironclad Flight. It turns off vacuum, which vacuum is when it sucks in like all drops, like credits and energy orbs and all kinds of things around you. It just picks them up automatically for you. It turns off vacuum in flight mode, which is actually really frustrating. It's annoying that it does that. And it gives 40% damage resistance while airborne. Now, that kind of seems like it would be really good, right? Except for the fact that there's already a different mod that you can put on any Warframe that gives 40% damage resistance while airborne without turning off vacuum. So, and it's a common mod. It's a really cheap, easy mod to get a hold of. So these augment mods, you need to rank up the syndicates and then spend syndicate points to get them. So it's a comparatively kind of expensive mod that is worse than the really cheap, easy basic mod. So I think that mod needs a rework. I'd say either increase first of all, turn off the damn vacuum shutting off. Like, that's just stupid. Apparently someone requested that was like a big YouTuber or something. At least that's what the wiki comments say. But I feel like whoever requested that was just like in the epitome of the Dunning-Kruger effect or whatever the fuck it's called. And they didn't actually know how to use Titania at all, because it doesn't help any Titania build to really shut that off unless you have no idea how to fly Titania. The big thing I'd say they could do to make that mod better is if they're going to leave vacuum off because it's just a debuff, really. Make it better than the other mod by increasing the damage resistance to like 50 or 60%. Or what I think would be even better is to give her additional evasion, right? Because that's what Titania is really about, is just not getting hit at all. I think if you do something like, so they changed how evasion works right now, and it's more reducing enemy accuracy now than increasing Warframe evasion, I believe, technically. But I'm just going to use evasion as a simple term. I guess we could say it the correct way. So her abilities, when she's in Razor Wing form, I believe automatically reduce enemy accuracy against her. One, just by the fact that she's tiny, making her harder to hit, but there might be a part of the ability itself that applies that. But even if it doesn't, one of her tribute buffs reduces enemy accuracy against her and all of her squad members. So I think what they really should do to make Ironclad Flight better is keep the 40% damage reduction, remove the shutting off the vacuum, and add an additional 20% evasion or 20% enemy accuracy reduction against Titania. I think that would make the mod actually useful. Just get rid of that shutting off the vacuum and instead add 20% enemy accuracy reduction. Then it's basically the same thing as the other mod. I feel like if you increase the damage reduction too much more, it'll be a little overpowered. But if you add that additional invasion, I found that even with my buffs active, especially on Plains of Edolan, those Grineer snipers will still fuck you up. I don't know if maybe they're outside of the range that the accuracy reduction applies, but if you're in a high level bounty on Plains of Cetus, you need to take down those snipers right away, because they will two-shot you even in your tiny flight mode with all your buffs up. So I do think there's a lot of little things that Digital Extremes need to work on just to make Warframe better. But the fact that they're doing an entire Oberon rework while releasing an entire new area, while also working on Soulframe in the background, I believe it's absolutely one of the best gaming companies out there, they do a lot to pay attention to what the community wants. I think there are very few gaming companies that actually care about what their community wants. They just want to keep people buying loot boxes or buying the new Call of Duty release, which is exactly the same, well, worse than all the previous Call of Duty releases because they're just putting shitty AI art in there with the wrong number of fingers, but charging you more money for it. It doesn't even feel like Call of Duty anymore because fucking Homelander's running around and shit. You're like, what is this, Fortnite? But I think Digital Extremes and Warframe definitely the top game. I feel like again, I'm always going to be a variety gamer, but my plan for the end of 2025 and the beginning of 2026 is to not necessarily become a Warframe creator specifically. I don't ever want to lock myself into just one game, but I want to build a community around Warframe. You know, I want to get all my friends playing Warframe so we can experience the space robot ninja power fantasy together. I feel like it is one of the best power fantasy games out there. And it does a really good job of scaling that too, right? It's one of the best games for balancing I've ever seen because uh, I actually got to a point where I was kind of feeling like the game was getting a little too easy in some respects, right? Uh, Especially now that my titanium build is uh, definitely getting up there as far as its power capabilities. But recently I started leveling Banshee because that's how you get master rank. Your account level is mastery rank, and your mastery rank is basically based entirely off of how many different weapons and how many different warframes you've used. You gain affinity and rank up, level up each weapon in Warframe, and as you do that, it levels up your account level. So the way to keep grinding mastery rank is to build new frames and new weapons and use them. And I'm sure you can build her to be strong. Banshee has an interesting kit, but especially before you rank her up the first time, when you first start a frame, chill, cat. He's just begging for attention. He's like tugging on my pants. He just wants me to pet him. It's really distracting. That's the point, I'm sure. Uh, Banshee is particularly weak at first before you unlock all of her abilities. I was getting my ass clapped in low level content, and I was like, you know, this is scaled pretty well. I There was one mission. I think it was a survival mission I was doing with her, one of the syndicate missions, and those enemies are like max 30, 35 level. I should have waited till I ranked Banshee up a little more because I only had like her first and second ability maybe, and her big ability that really helps her survive is her third ability, which has a silence that stuns. I think I died maybe 3 times doing that, and I was like, oh, okay, like she has no ability to survive. Now, again, it depends on the frame too, because like the a frame I didn't have that issue with was Mirage, and that's because her first ability, she copies clones of herself, basically little illusory copies that are her main survivability ability because it causes things to shoot at not you, and so I think a lot of it depends on the frame, definitely. But Mirage had no problem with any of those syndicate missions, and it's just a good reminder that even those low level missions where they're only like rank 30. By the way, my just for scaling, for people who aren't aware, my Titania build can kill rank 200 level 200 plus enemies. So, and that's end game content really. In Steel Path, everything is above 100, and if you do endless missions, especially later in the map, uh, you're gonna get to 200 plus enemies pretty quickly. So, uh, the fact that even with my game knowledge and my movement skills and stuff, I was kind of struggling with Banshee against level 30 enemies. I was like, damn, okay, this game still has pretty good scaling. And I'm looking forward to getting new people into the game or getting people who have played to come back. I was looking at my Steam friends list the other day. I noticed there's a lot of people on. First of all, there's only 2 people on my Steam friends list that have more hours than me in Warframe currently. I don't know if Leard's on my friends list, or maybe he doesn't play it on Steam, but he should have more hours. But the 2 people that currently have more hours in Warframe than me are Splatsky and Preacher of Valor. Also, like, just 2 top tier creators. Splat helped me out a lot when I first started the game. She gifted me um, a color palette so I could actually make my Warframes look cool, and a couple basic mods. It really helped me out get started. And Preacher of Valor actually is the warlord of the clan. So those 2 people both have more hours than me. But I was looking, there's like 30 people, maybe not exactly 30, but at least 20, definitely more than 10, that have played the game. And some of them have like 20 minutes, 40 minutes max. A lot of them have like less than 20 hours, which is nothing in Warframe. I would love to get more people in my community playing Warframe again or trying it out for the first time. I messaged another creator I'm pretty fond of, who I know is really into mushrooms. And I'm like, hey, they're about to do a mushroom expansion. I'm hoping I can get her to try it out. So I would love to build a whole community where we all just hang out in Warframe together. Again, always going to be a variety streamer. I really want to go back to a lot of those story games. Dragon's Dogma #1 is first on the list thanks to D-Day Live, another creator who gifted it to me. And I just haven't had time to play it yet because of this move and all the other bullshit involved with it. But that's probably early October, I think. Like I said, I want to check all the boxes for the current content before the new expansion comes out. And once I do that, I'm going to need something else to play on stream. So Dragon's Dogma, and then we'll play that. And if we beat that, we'll look into other story games that I have. I have a list of like 10 story games I want to play. The Witcher series, I want to do Horizon Zero Dawn. I want to check out other MMOs that I missed when I was going through my shit, like First Descendant and Once Human. I think both of those are free to play, but I want to give those a shot. One of the other guys, Saya Bloodraven, really chill content creator. They have been playing some of one of those games, but also used to spend a lot of time in Warframe. VTuber, go check them out if you like VTuber content. Yeah, but definitely got a lot of plans for the upcoming months. I'm hoping October is when things finally turn around and start to pick up for me. Maybe it would be a nice birthday present, you know? But we'll see if that's what the universe has in store for me or not. Regardless, I've been rambling now a little bit. I think I need to go make dinner, move some things while I'm waiting for the pizza to cook. I have the second half of the pizza to finish still. Then we'll watch some YouTube videos while I eat and get in Warframe and do the Mask of the Revenant quest, then start unlocking the rest of Steel Path. So I'll see you guys on the other side. I love all of you. God bless America. Cheers.